Welcome to the Brian Craig Show podcast. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. The Brian Craig Show podcast is brought to you by Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting and Roofing. He will never sell you a roof you do not need. Tom Laporta. All right. We got a lot to cover. Kamala Harris is doing some crazy stuff. I'm going to talk about the Elon Musk Trump interview last night on X, Twitter Spaces, X Spaces, whichever it's called, and a whole bunch more. And I just saw this. Obama posted this yesterday, but I just saw it now on X. Obama just posted, and he printed this up like on a proper card and everything. Barack Obama's 2024 summer reading list.
Summer is almost over.
Yeah, it's a little late, Barack.
That should have come out like in May.
Well, you know, his whole life is a summer vacation now, right? Or,
I guess so.
Unless he's running the country.
Summer ends, well, it ends in September 20th, but officially kind of Labor Day.
But is he running the country? Is he running Kamala's campaign? But I'm going over these books. James, there's always this year on basketball and Ascension.
Oh, my gosh.
Everyone who is gone here, the United States, Central America, and the making of a crisis. Reading Genesis, Headshot, which is about female boxers. We looked that one up. I was wondering what that was about. I thought it might have been about a photo thing, but, you know, a lot of people are reading into that because President Trump got shot almost in the head. The God of the Woods, Beautiful Days, Martyr, which is about an Iranian searching for a family secret. I think the family secret is it's about a president who was born in Kenya. That's probably the secret. Memory Piece, The Ministry of Time, When the Clock Broke, Conman, Conspiracist, and How America Cracked Up in the Early 1990s. Now, that might be interesting. That sounds like some left-wing book because that was the Clinton era. Of Boys and Men, Why the Modern Male is Struggling, Why It Matters, and What to Do About It. The last thing I want to ask Barack Obama about is how to be a man. Okay, The Wide, Wide Sea, Imperial Ambition, First Contact, and the Faithful Final Voyage of Captain James Cook, and finally, Help Wanted. Does anyone believe that Obama reads these boring books?
No, I don't think he's read any of them, in fact, because I think he's too busy destroying the country.
Exactly.
He doesn't have time to read.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, come on.
And I promise you, if you looked at this list, they're all books that are on the New York Times bestseller list or critically acclaimed, or you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem like an interesting list to me. I Googled a few of them, but you know, my taste is obviously different. But I noticed there's no American classic literature in there.
No.
There's not like I'm reading an Agatha Christie book. Of course, she's British. But I'm also reading Moby Dick, and I'm trying to read some classics now. I'm reading Gone with the Wind, and I read like 6 books at a time, and I'm reading like these murder mysteries I like with the amateur detective. That's what I like to read. Yeah. So everybody's entitled to what they want to read, obviously.
But I don't believe Obama's reading
I don't
stuff.
recognize, and all of these books are, I don't know. I mean, there's no like Ernest Hemingway. Or what happened to those people that read that kind of stuff?
I don't think Obama reads, okay? I think Obama is involved in all kinds of devious
he has no time to read.
Nonsense that's going on. I think he's running this country
into the ground
from remote. I think he's got a lot to do with Kamala's campaign. He's got a lot going on.
I think
he's not reading books.
Put this list together.
Yeah, to make him sound
intellectual. He probably went to his assistant and said, you know what, I'm going to put out a summer reading list. Come up with a list of 20 books that are like critically acclaimed on the New York Times bestseller.
Yeah.
That you think would make me look good.
Exactly. Look smart. Okay, so let's first get into Kamala. She had a spokesperson on from her campaign, right? A campaign spokesperson for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz on television today.
Oh, but she won't go on.
No.
She certainly, again, has many parts of President Biden's agenda that she helped pass, that she supports, but she's also going to be putting forward her own agenda. And that's something you heard her talk about when she talked about no taxes on tips in Nevada earlier this week.
Okay. So now they've changed this thing that the no tax on tips is her original idea, not Trump's. When she was in the Senate, and also as the vice president, she's president of the Senate. She was tie-breaking vote on some of these issues. And what the Democrats did was dispatch a whole bunch of IRS agents to track down tips to make sure people paid their taxes on them. And
it's a bunch of malarkey, as Biden would like to say.
There's a lot to talk about this thing with tips, because I do want to talk about it a little bit, because I think it's important.
Yeah.
First off, no tax on tips is the third promise on Trump's campaign promises for this time around. The first is shut down the border. Second is the deportations. And 3 is no taxes on tips.
I sent you the list of his 20 promises to America. I texted it to you last night.
Yeah, I saw it.
So he has, if you go to his website or go to his X, he has 20 promises to America. I like that he's using that word promises. And we all know he came up with this idea first. And the fact that she's bogarted this idea tells me 2 things: that her ideas suck and nobody likes them, and they understand that America hates her the radical platform.
Yeah.
So they're adopting Trump's platform now, and you're going to see them systematically do this. They're going to take on more of his ideas, I promise you, which they'll never do.
It's a little deeper than that.
And that they're desperate.
And, the polls that we all see are not the real polls. The real, true, accurate scientific polls are the internal polls that the parties and the campaigns do, and they're never made public. Occasionally something leaks out, but not often. And their internal polling is telling them they're in big trouble, that Trump is doing very well among groups of people that the Democrats take for granted. So she's going out there saying no tax on tips, and the mainstream corporate media are very happy to credit her with this idea instead of Trump, and also act as if this has been like a lifelong career part of her agenda from her times back in California, when the opposite is true. The Democrats put IRS agents specifically assigned to track down tips. The thing with tips, tips until the last 5 to 10 years, nobody really thought about tips because tips were all cash. And then they slowly started to move away from cash with debit cards and things like in the 80s and 90s. But in the last 5 or 10 years, most everybody pays with either Apple Pay or the Google Pay. I pay with Apple Pay 98, 99% of the time, no matter where I go. They even take Apple Pay at the post office, So, very few people pay. So in the last few years, since the tips are all done through Apple Pay and everything, they're not with cash, it's become a huge revenue stream for the federal government. Before, it wasn't a big revenue stream because it was in cash and they all pocketed them. So when Trump had, a few weeks ago first said no taxes on tips, that was such an outside-the-box thing.
Absolutely. I've never heard anybody say that.
I've never heard any politician even suggest it. I've not heard a commentator even talk about it.
In fact, when he said it, everybody was like, wow. That's such a great idea. How come nobody ever thought of that before?
Innovative thinking. And, the thing about people in the tip economy, it's not just waiters, waitresses, and bartenders. It's Instacart drivers, it's Lyft and Uber drivers. That there's a big tip economy, much larger than you think, but it's almost all done electronically now. Most people, not all, but most people that are part of the tip economy are on the lower end of the tax brackets, So when tax cuts are made, the brackets are changed. They really don't get a tax cut because they're in the lower brackets, so they don't get a tax cut. You can't cut taxes on people that are in a low tax bracket that really aren't paying taxes. They pay people at that income level, for the most part, do not pay income taxes. They pay payroll taxes, Social Security, Medicare, They don't pay payroll taxes. I mean, they don't pay income taxes. They pay payroll taxes. So this is the first time, no taxes on tips, that level of worker, the tip economy people, are really getting a significant tax break offer here, right? And I remember when that first happened and we first talked about it. When I say no one's ever talked about it, it sounds like such a simple thing, but things that are brilliant often seem simple until someone comes up with it, right? It is innovative thinking that no one has ever discussed before. And when Trump first announced it, the Democrats went on a panic. The media were attacking him for it, talking about how much money the government was going to lose because of it, and how the government couldn't even function with. And now all of a sudden they're acting as if this was a lifelong mission. I'm expecting them by the end of the week, by the end of the convention, the Democrat convention starts on Monday, that they'll be telling us when she was a little girl, she had a lemonade stand and she got a tip, and she wanted to end taxes on tips from the time she had the lemonade stand in Canada or whatever. This is nonsense. And for them to go around in the media and Kamala and her campaign to act like this is her dream come true and this has always been a part of her agenda and Biden's agenda, it's really sick, twisted propaganda.
Well, the thing is, everybody knows this was Trump's idea.
Yes, everybody.
So it makes her look very bad that she can't come up with ideas of her own that are clever or innovative or smart that she has. So just the fact that she took Trump's idea makes him look good, in my opinion. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She and Biden hired 85,000 IRS agents specifically to go after people that live off tips 2 years ago. Not even, maybe less. And she cannot hide from her record. And I really hope the American people, hardcore liberals, are going to vote for her no matter what, okay? Because they hate Donald Trump, they hate Christians, they hate conservatives, and they're running on hate. But I think most people that are obviously MAGA and people that are in the middle of the road or independents are going to see this for what it is. And to me, it makes her look like she can't come up with any ideas of her own, like I said. It makes her look like they know in internal polling that she's really losing, and they're trying to adopt his ideas to help. The media is really trying so hard. Her vice president, I really can't remember any time where a vice president pick had such a bad impact on a campaign. This was the worst pick she could have ever made. Now, they got a few people on the news that are veterans that are defending this guy, but people get paid to do this. We knew a guy, I won't say his name. This was in the Periscope days, and I think you'll know who I'm talking about, who was a veteran. He was big on Periscope, and he was a spokesman on Fox.
Oh, yeah.
And he was constantly defending Hillary. This was during the 2016 campaign. And he was going on the news and defending Hillary. He voted for Trump. He was a Trump guy.
Yeah.
But he got paid to defend Hillary. And we were friends with this guy.
They paid him $500 every time he went on Fox.
We talked to him on the phone. We were friendly with him. Yeah. And through Periscope. And he told us, he said, I don't like her. And he was a gay guy. He's gay too, and a veteran. He said, I don't like her. I'm not voting for her, but they want me to defend her, and that's what I get paid to do. But he voted for Trump. Most of these people on the news are paid. They're all paid pundits. They don't believe what they're saying, but they get, and I don't know how people could do that because I just wouldn't be that way, but everybody has a price. So you really have to be careful what you're watching and what's going on. Read Trump's promises. And the thing working against her is Trump has been president. He has delivered on his promises. And I listened to the whole interview with him and Elon Musk. And Elon Musk is very impressive. I will say this. So is Trump. But Elon Musk, I was very impressed by. He's a very quiet guy, very smart. But one idea they had, one of them that was really fantastic, was Trump wants to eliminate the Department of Education, which I think is a fantastic idea. It's done nothing.
Republicans have been talking about that for a long time.
Well, he'll do it. And he said, our nation is so low on the education is worldwide. And what he wants to do is give it to the states, okay? And let the states be in charge of the education of their own state. And then Elon Musk said, yes, he said, when you do that, you create competition. So say Florida has a much better educational system than California, people are going to move to Florida to get their kids educated in the public system there because it's better. It's ranked better. And that will create competition and cause other states to up their game. There is so much corruption, like at the school board level. Brian worked with the Broward County School Board a long time ago. And you just wouldn't believe the schools that are so dilapidated with old books, especially in black neighborhoods, Democrat-run neighborhoods. They don't get any of the money. And Trump said, we spend the most money per student, $21,000 a year, in this country, and we're at the bottom of the education.
Yeah.
And part of that is they allow phones in schools. They're spending all day teaching kids about Black Lives Matter and gay pride parades. And this is all done by design. This is what China and Russia want. They want us to have stupid people.
Getting back to this stuff with Kamala, Kamala, there is a good chance that she's going to get through this whole campaign without a press conference or a serious interview. And,
oh, for sure. She'll try.
The convention will be a big pep rally and everything else. There will be at least one debate. There usually need to be a minimum of 2 debates. The vice presidents, they only have 1 debate typically. That's how it always is. 1 debate with the vice presidential candidates. That's going to be a slaughter because this guy's so. I got some new stuff on Walz that you won't believe. I mean, this guy is the worst that we'll get into later on the show. But this no taxes on tips is not just a punchline that she's taking credit for something Trump did. It's that their internal pollings are saying that Trump's positions are incredibly popular by the people. And see, the thing with Trump, Trump's done a lot of things. He's woken up the country. I mean, even though there's still a lot of Democrats in the country, to a certain degree, the entire country has been red-pilled because they see what's going on. I've been talking to a lot of listeners this week that call me in the morning, and I know I've been getting frustrated with some of you guys, okay, with the doomsayers and all this stuff. And there are always going to be, and no matter who the president is and who the candidates are, the country is always going to be almost 50-50, okay? Presidential elections, what's considered a landslide is not winning 49 states. What's considered a landslide is a victory of 1 to 3%, guys, okay? That is considered a landslide. I know that sounds crazy. A landslide, when I say that, 1-2% in the national popular vote. The electoral college system, because the way states are awarded, make things seem like a landslide in your mind. But in reality, a landslide victory is 1 to 3% of the popular vote.
Listen,
okay,
hold on, but don't get all caught up and he's got to get a landslide. We just want him to win
by one vote.
I don't care if he wins
exactly
by 1 vote. Exactly. I mean, this whole thing, if you got to have a landslide and this and that, this is all you got to do. Just go out and vote. That's all you got to do.
Right.
And what they're trying to do is suppress your vote. They're trying to depress you. They're trying to give you the impression that Trump is losing. So by the time the election comes around, you're not going to want to go. And you'll say, you know what? My vote's not going to count.
That's right.
The fact that you're even thinking that way says that it's working.
Yeah.
That they're brainwashing you.
And I'm getting very
frustrated. Believe me, she's a loser.
And
she's not going to win.
And I'll give you what the main indicator that I'm looking at, okay, with what's going on here. Her taking the no taxes on tips is big because I've never, and guys, I want you to really rack your mind around this.
Yeah.
When has a Democrat ever proposed reducing taxes?
Never.
No,
exactly.
No, they never do.
Never.
No. So, okay.
And go by what she's done, not what she says.
But look at this guy she picked to be her running mate, Tim Walz. All right. And you got to think about this. This guy is a kook. I mean, there's a story when he was governor. Okay, just how crazy. We've been talking about the stolen valor for a week, right?
Yeah.
The thing about his 87-year-old grandmother,
that's just
mother,
the tip of the iceberg.
He gave orders, the snitch line, all that stuff. He gave orders to police, authorizing them to shoot people with paintball pellets on their front porch if they were violating the lockdown orders. There's a story about that today. You can't make this stuff up.
What is he, 12?
This guy.
That's weird.
Is not a credible person.
No, he's a joke.
There's another story that this is crazy. I mean, we're laughing, but that's pretty serious. There's another story today about how he's been mentored by this imam in Minnesota who's praised Adolf Hitler openly.
He might even be Muslim.
I think
he's the Manchurian candidate. I think they flipped him when he was in the army. I really
think
do.
that Walz is a Chinese spy. I think he.
So he's like,
and I think he's here to cause division and disruption. And for all those people that say he used to be a reasonable Democrat, not this radical thing, he was undercover then. And then radicalism became popular, right? After George Floyd, and then he started with the Chinese Cold War against the United States is chaos and disruption. The damage that the Chinese have done to this country on TikTok is beyond measure, okay? And what they do is they cause division, and he is a kook who is out there to divide. But anyway, back to this. He is a wackadoodle person who's a literal clown, who's very dangerous, okay? On top of the fact that she's a San Francisco liberal Democrat. And if the only thing that I look at are the battleground toss-up states, okay? You cannot look at the nation. You got to look at the toss-up states. Most every state California's going Democrat. Florida's going Republican, okay? The battleground toss-up states are the ones you've got to look at.
I think Trump is focusing on...
He's doing everything in the battleground states.
I think he's focusing on the 7 states that were a problem in the last election for him, if you know what I mean.
And there's 2 things that Kamala did that show you that they've given up as far as the presidency goes.
Right.
The 2 states out of the battleground states that are the most likely that they could move if they were are Arizona and Pennsylvania. The governor of Pennsylvania, Shapiro, and Kelly, who's the senator in Arizona, both were on the VP list, and they're not running with her. If they thought battleground states were in play, and by the way, Trump doesn't have to win all the battleground states to win, okay? But if they thought that there was a way to put Arizona or Pennsylvania into the Democrat corner, they would have picked one of them as her running mate and would have said, okay, it was tight in Pennsylvania, but we had the sitting governor and he's won statewide elections, or it was tight in Arizona, but we had the sitting senator who was elected statewide, so it put us over the. She didn't do that. She picked the nuttiest person ever in the history of the presidential campaigns, and from a very blue Democrat state where Al Franken was the senator, okay, where Walter Mondale was from, and picked that guy. There's no gain in that. And last week when this pick...
Yeah, exactly.
Last week when this pick came out, 2 things came out. And we talked about them both, but they probably got lost because we were focusing on other things. 1, Shapiro turned her down. He met with her, and what the story is after he had a conversation with her, he didn't want anything to do with it. Then there was
Oh, really?
Yes. I don't know what happened.
Because she's an idiot.
Well, no, I mean, I don't know what that exchange was, but something about getting to know her a little bit flipped him out. He didn't want anything to do with her.
Yeah, because she's a moron.
It was reported that 12 people turned her down to be her running mate.
Yeah, I think this guy's the bottom of the barrel.
I don't know if the 12 include Shapiro and Kelly. It may, but at least 12, maybe 14. So Shapiro, the reason Shapiro and Kelly turned her down, both of them believe that they have the opportunity maybe to be the nominee next time. Obama wants Kelly to be the nominee of the Democrat Party at some point. He's grooming Kelly. And Shapiro is in with that crowd too. So we could actually see Shapiro and Kelly as running mates. They may run against each other in the primaries, but could be running mates in 2028 for the Democrat nominee. And they didn't want to burn their credibility with Kamala. So what I'm here to tell you is things are so much in our favor. And if you hear me lose frustration talking with MAGA doomsayers, there's so much going in our favor. I just don't have the patience for that. You know what you understand what I mean? And I'm not apologizing for it either. I will tell you that I am not your therapist. Now, I want to tell you guys that Mike Lindell, who's been a supporter of this program and all of my content for many, many years now, he has brought back free shipping with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, on all orders over $75. That's for a limited time, but he's doing it something special. I had asked them about that, and I was surprised they brought it back because I talk to them at least once a week, and sometimes they'll ask me, what about this special, that special? And I say, the free shipping is really an incredible offer for people. And we ordered a mattress this week, by the way, using the free shipping with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And they didn't say yes or no. They just listened. And then, boom, they added free shipping on orders over $75. That's site-wide. No matter what you order, if the order is over $75, it is free shipping with our promo code Kane. And the $25 extravaganza continues, so you can get like 3 of those things, and you got the free shipping, or you get the mattress topper, that's free shipping. And again, that's site-wide with our promo code Kane. It's a great time. I know it's not Christmas in July. It is August, but it's still a good time to do your Christmas shopping.
It's going to be September before you know it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me because I'm older. The days just fly by.
Yeah.
And I can't believe it's already, the 13th today?
Yeah, and I like
it's already the middle of August.
I like to have our Christmas shopping done before Thanksgiving. Because the longer you wait, then you got to lay out a bunch of dough all at once. If you do it slowly. You could shop
for everybody at MyPillow and have everything done from that one website. And with free shipping, you could really, and that doesn't last forever. So it's a good time to do it now and load up and get everything shipped to your house, have it ready to go. And then it's just no more stress on that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Honestly, because shopping for people is not easy, especially the older you get. I don't know. I have a hard time. So this is an easy one.
And you know what? The MyPillow itself, people love that. And when you give a MyPillow to someone, they will tell you how much they love that pillow every time you see them. They will. So it's promo code Kane at checkout, Kane at MyPillow.com. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there's a whole bunch more to talk about. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Don't go anywhere.
Do you have a talent that you've been wanting to share with the world? Or maybe you love discovering and watching new raw talent in action? Then check out Disc King online at dis-king.com. Disc King is not just another platform. It's a revolutionary space founded by visionary Jorgen Betten out of Norway. At Disc King, true talent shines and everyone gets a chance to engage in thrilling competitions in singing, rapping, comedy, and that's just the beginning. With weekly and monthly competitions leading up to the grand finale end of the year championship, Disc King is the place to be if you want to showcase your talent or simply enjoy talent on display. And you can be a part of it all. Disc King is launching soon, and you have the chance to be a part of this entertainment revolution. Sign up on their website, that's DISS, dis-king.com. You can contribute to their cause and even grab some cool Disc King merch. Every bit of support helps bring this incredible platform to life. And make sure to check out their Kickstarter campaign to see how you can get involved. You can snag some awesome rewards for backing this project. If you believe in the power of talent and creativity, now is the time to act. Visit Disc King right now online at dis-king.com. That's dis-king.com. Your stage, your spotlight. Get ready to make your mark. dis-king.com. Are you looking for eco-friendly fashion that doesn't compromise on style? Then check out Mendis.com. That's MENDISS, where fashion meets sustainability. At Mendis.com, they're all about sustainable fashion. They offer classic designs that are made from lightweight, eco-friendly fabrics, with made-on-demand t-shirts and ultimate comfort hoodies. They're soft, stylish, and have practical pouch pockets. They're perfect for everyone and every occasion. They're soft, sustainable, durable, and reliable. You will feel the difference each and every time you wear them. The fabrics are as soft as they are durable, giving you ultimate comfort while caring for the planet at the same time. Their motto is, unity is power. Mendis is more than just a brand. It's a movement of collective responsibility in making sustainable choices. Join the Mendis community and make a positive impact through sustainable fashion choices. Mendis.com, where fashion meets sustainability. Mendis.com. Are you a business owner, large or small? Or do you work from home? Then listen up. Universal Shop Limited is your home for all the business tools you need for your company's success. Universal Shop Limited provide essential tools for all businesses. From eye-catching marketing templates to efficient organizational tools, they have everything you're looking for your company. Check out their best-selling Small Business Organizer, the ultimate planner for startup owners, with sections for goal setting, financial planning, and day-to-day operations. operations. Their virtual shelves are filled with digital tools that are meticulously crafted to empower you and your business. Their inventory includes product inventory trackers, printable cash receipts, monthly bill trackers, and so much more. Whether you need a work-from-home planner or a digital food inventory tracker, Universal Shop Limited has what you're searching for. Visit the Etsy shop right now, online at universalshoplimited.etsy.com, and elevate your business to new heights. universalshoplimited.etsy.com, empowering your business with the tools for success. Find everything your business needs right now at universalshoplimited.etsy.com. Have you been searching and searching for the perfect action figure or toys? Your search is over with Eduardo's Toy Co. on Mercari.com. Eduardo's Toy Co. is passionate about making people happy with toys. They have everything you're looking for, from the WWE to the DC Multiverse, Harley Quinn, and much, much more. There's something for every collector and lover of toys at Eduardo's Toy Co. on Mercari.com. Need gaming electronics? They've got that too, like the Sony PSP 1000. All the prices are fair and nothing is ever overpriced. You'll also find unmatched friendliness and communication. If you have any questions or can't find what you're looking for, feel free to message Eduardo anytime and he'll get right back to you. They're perfect for gift shopping too. Visit Eduardo's Toy Co. on Mercari.com. Just go to Mercari.com and search Eduardo's Toy Co. That's Eduardo's Toy Co. on Mercari.com. Start shopping right now.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. The Elon Musk, Trump, X Twitter Spaces thing. I want to talk about that. First, I want to say this, that you guys know I will never criticize nor disagree with President Trump, but I can make suggestions. And I believe Trump is doing everything right in this campaign. I like this strategy that he's doing where he's reaching out to new people.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. The Twitter Spaces, he talked about a lot of things that you and I have heard him talk about many times. The assassination when he got shot, his specifics on the border. But, 1 billion people have seen at least part of that.
Amazing.
By the way, 1 billion.
I believe it.
And I put that in the thumbnail for my YouTube live stream this morning. Some people gave me a hard time about it, said it was clickbait. And I knew because I looked up. And by the way, that was as of last night.
Yep.
And Elon Musk posted about it on X today, a billion. Okay. That's absolutely amazing. But to the tens of millions of Americans that were listening to that last night, they've never heard Trump talk that way because unlike us, they don't watch the Trump rallies on Right Side Broadcasting. Right. Okay. The people that watch Right Side Broadcasting are those of us that are MAGA and follow every word Trump says all the time. And tens of millions of people heard him talk about that and all those other issues for the very first time.
Yeah.
And because I heard some people saying it was repetitive. Well, if you're hanging on Trump's every word like we are, yeah, you hear him say some things. But it was brand new to most of the people that were listening to that. And he's been doing outreach to people that don't follow politics and news.
Right.
Like, it's like church. You go to church on Easter, oh man, you can't get parking and it's jam-packed. But, the week after, you know what I mean? That's what presidential elections are like. Okay, I was talking to someone at the radio station today, and I told them, I said, the midterm elections are the Super Bowl, but the presidential elections are the World Cup.
Yeah.
Okay? And everybody follows the Super Bowl in this country. Even I follow it. I don't even know who's playing in the Super Bowl until like the kickoff, all right?
Right.
And that's how a lot of people are, okay? And it's the same way with Trump politics and news. Most people don't follow news and politics every day. So, and he's doing outreach to those people and in the battleground states. But the one thing that I would suggest to him that we really need him to do is to be on X, to be on Twitter regularly. And there's one thing we're missing.
I agree.
In this campaign, only one thing.
Mean tweets.
Yeah, and it's a little bit more than that. And I'll I was trying to explain this on the radio this morning with Steve Kane, and I wasn't communicating I was not communicating well because I'll tell you, this is not something I normally do. President Trump and his entire team are at Mar-a-Lago, okay? So I know that some of them are listening to me on the radio in the morning, and I was trying to, over the radio, get a message to
you've had
someone
people,
from the campaign.
Even his own son have messaged you and told you they were listening.
No, I know they listen.
So they listen.
I know they listen over there. And I was trying to communicate something to them, and I don't think I communicated it as well as I normally would, and I didn't really say something popped in my head. And because this is something I never do. Okay, that's a very unusual thing for me to do, and I was kind of uncomfortable doing it, and I didn't explain well. But this is the one thing that's missing, and I'm going to probably talk about this on the radio tomorrow, and I'm going to talk to you guys, get a little preview on the podcast. What we're missing, there's a lot of stories out there. Okay, and I'll go through a few of them real quick without any details. The stolen valor. There's a man who did an interview online who was prosecuted by Kamala Harris's office when she was DA for murder. He was sentenced to 50 years in prison for a murder that he did not commit. The appeals court later overturned it. She prosecuted him and convicted him on the testimony of 2 lying police officers. Now, this is San Francisco, so those are liberal police for sure. And she knew he didn't do it, but she wanted to get that conviction. And he said when they he's black, when they walked him out of the courtroom, she was sitting in the courtroom in the audience, and she was laughing at him that she got the conviction. And what she's
a sick person.
And what she was doing is when she was district attorney, all she was thinking about was becoming state attorney general. And then she just wanted to be senator, and then she wanted to be president. She wanted to have this tough female prosecutor thing going on. So she was just wanted to get convictions. She didn't care if they were guilty or not. She just wanted to get convictions to elevate herself. This is why you don't want childless cat ladies running the country, okay? That's because they're too self-absorbed. This guy, he should be all over the place. This medical emergency that Biden had in Las Vegas, we now have police radio calls from the local police in Vegas talking about it. He had a stroke or something major. Where was she? What did she know? Why is she not invoked the 25th? Why did she not become acting president during this? There's a whole host of issues, okay? And what we're missing, because Trump is not on Twitter, is there's not a dialogue going on with this. And what I was trying to communicate with the Trump organization, and I'm going to get this to them, is I had an idea for an advertising campaign for President Trump that I think would be incredibly effective. It's a take off the Willie Horton ad. Now, the Willie Horton ad, I did mention this on the air today, and I did get it out, and I hope they heard. But I was getting frustrated with these doomsayer MAGA callers telling me about Fox News talking about Kamala momentum. If she's got momentum, why is she taking Trump's positions and trying to say they're hers, right? The tips. Willie Horton, the Willie Horton ad. Dukakis was the Democrat nominee running against Bush 41 when he ran for president the first time. And Governor Dukakis had this crazy furlough plan for convicts in prison where they got to go home on the weekends and stuff. And
what is it with Democrats and criminals?
They love them. And
I guess because they're criminals.
Willie Horton was in prison for life for murder.
I remember this.
And Dukakis gave him a furlough, and he brutally raped a woman.
This really destroyed his campaign.
And
this really was bad for him.
And the Bush campaign put together the Willie Horton ad, and that was the end. And there was this video of him riding in a tank, Dukakis, and the Willie Horton ad, which was very dramatic and true, ended with him in the tank, and he looked like a clown. And I came up with this idea today because there's been tragic deaths, rapes and deaths, murders of Americans at the hands of illegals that have come into the country under Kamala Harris, the border czar's watch. Not just Lincoln Riley. They're happening all the time. There was a woman yesterday who was in the news. She was raped by 2 illegals in New York.
Yeah, Trump talked about that last night.
At knife point.
Yeah.
her boyfriend was with her. He tried to stop it, and one of them hit him in the head with a pipe. And
in fact, Elon said that his mother lives in New York, and Trump asked him, has your mother had friends that have been attacked? He said, yes. He said 3 of her friends have been attacked.
Yeah, they're all rich ladies.
In the streets now, and he said it's not safe, and he needs to get his mother out of New York.
I'm sure she has a bodyguard. He's the richest man in America.
But they did talk about that.
So what my idea is having a Willie Horton a day or a Willie Horton a week ad campaign against Kamala Harris, and what you do in the ad, and this is a true.
And talk to the family members.
Yeah, have ads specifically on.
That's a great idea.
One crime, and there's so many of them. You could have them almost every day. The Willie Horton a day campaign, and that would not be the official name. And you have the ad. You show the illegal. You show when they came here. You show who they victimized, whether they raped, murdered, both, or did some other crime. And then at the end of the ad, you have 2 cuts of Kamala. You have the one that came out yesterday of her saying she was going to release everyone from the detention centers on day 1.
Yep.
And then you end it with her cackle.
Yeah.
And that campaign would end her campaign and any future campaign she had. And if Trump were on Twitter regularly and he were talking about these things with mean tweets and posting those ads, the mainstream media wouldn't be able to resist. They would try to do damage control. They would be all over it. And if Trump were on Twitter, okay, and he was on there every day commenting on everything in real time like he used to on Twitter, we would have narratives going on all of these things that were not, because we don't have him leading that charge. True Social's all right, but it's an echo chamber of agreement. You're preaching to the choir. We really need him on Twitter. He posted a couple things on Twitter yesterday, and they got many millions of views and retweets instantly.
Yeah.
And I don't buy this thing that he's got some contractual agreement with True Social. It's his own company. He could get out of it.
No, because he tweeted yesterday.
And he could get out, yeah.
He tweeted several things, and mostly videos, but he also put some comments up there.
Yeah.
So he can do it.
Now, I understand. If the old people own Twitter still, okay, if Elon had never bought Twitter and turned it into X, all these things would not be allowed on Twitter.
I think he's worried about Truth Social folding and making him look bad is part of it.
Maybe.
I think he's worried that but he can be on both, but if he goes to X, a lot of people might not be on Truth anymore.
If Elon
delete that app, and I think he's afraid of it.
Like Parler and all those other apps are gone.
Yeah, so and maybe he doesn't, but I think he needs to not worry.
But you know what,
that.
Kathy? I would, and I think Trump would agree with this. I would rather Truth Social collapse than America.
Yeah, no,
and
I agree.
And if Trump were on Twitter like the old days, all day, every day, with the mean tweets, commenting on everything, you would see a tone change in this country where these doomsayers and the MAGA people that they keep going, that'd be gone. It'd be wiped out within a 2-day period.
Right.
And that everything he's doing in the campaign is perfect, and I agree with it, except for that. And like, I agree that he's not doing these cable news shows. I think that's a waste of time because it's talking to people whose minds are made up. He needs to spend his time, like he did last night with Elon, talking to people that are undecided.
The problem with that, though, is there are a lot of, I think you need to do both. There are a lot of people that support him that mostly watch the news or whatever. And if he's not present there, then the news can go ahead and run with this whole narrative that he's not campaigning, that he's not involved, he's not engaged. And that could upset people. And they may be like, well, you know what? He just doesn't give a damn. So, and people will think that way. And that is a way to also to get people to not go out and vote, because they'll be like, well, screw him if he's not going to bother. You know, here's the deal. He did a 2.5 hour conversation with Elon Musk last night. I don't think Kamala could last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And Elon Musk is extremely intelligent, and Trump held his own. Believe me. I mean, you did not get the feeling that Trump could not keep up. Okay, you didn't. It was like equally matched, I felt. Kamala is not even doing interviews. She's got her spokespeople. She's not even doing them on liberal news networks. What the hell does that tell you?
She's got a lot to hide.
She's an idiot. No, she's stupid.
And stupid. Yeah,
Every time she does an interview, it's a disaster. She's a moron. Look at the things she said, like when Lester Holt said, you didn't go to the border. Well, I didn't go to Europe either. She's a moron. Every time she opens her mouth, she says something stupid. So they're terrified of, even on a NBC network interview, she looked dumb. So they're terrified of her. I can't wait for the debate. She's going to get destroyed. And I think she's only going to do one. She's only going to do one debate. And it's going to be an absolute disaster. And I really hope Trump has read up on her record and fills the audience with all the people that were affected by illegal crime. Migrant crime, as he calls it. And I think your idea is a good idea. That one super PAC's going to put $100 billion into commercials. So I would put out an ad a day on X, 30 seconds, a minute, featuring a family member that was affected. They got, 90 days left? That's plenty.
80
more people have died from migrant crime or been hurt or affected by migrant crime.
Every day they should feature
Every
a story.
day, put a story, interview the family members.
That's exactly right.
And say, my daughter, my son, or fentanyl. My son was
it's the same
overdosed.
Thing,
Exactly.
You know what? It could even be a car accident that was caused.
Anything that is affected by migrants coming in. And I promise you, if she wins, they've let in 18 million people so far. That's almost the state of Florida. Almost the whole state of Florida. They're going to let in another 50 million. I promise you, in 4 years, minimum. You won't recognize this country anymore.
Last school year,
and they'll fill them in the big cities and they'll put them. What they do is they'll relocate them, or they'll place them where they can have the most impact on elections.
Like, I'll tell you one thing that's going on now. This happened last year. School's back, right, this week.
Yeah.
And the illegals are not inoculated. You just can't get inoculated for measles and chicken pox. You start when you're newborn, and by the time you get to kindergarten, you've had them. Last school year here in South Florida, there was a big measles outbreak, and the media covered it up. There was a big cover-up, okay, in the local media because they're liberal. And, of course, I talked about on the radio, it's because the children of illegals that are in the schools, they bring measles. And there's even that. There's a story a day on and sometimes it can just be a financial strain on a community. I've talked to people that have called me on my YouTube live streams in the mornings that live in Texas and Arizona in particular. The amount of crime that is going on in Texas and Arizona is scary.
That's what Trump needs to focus on. Crime and the border and the economy.
A woman called me from Arizona yesterday, and she was talking to me about how bad it was out there. And I told her this. I said, talking to someone in Arizona in 2024 is like talking to someone in Iraq in 2004. That was the height of the Iraq War, okay, around the surge time and all that. And the crime that's taking place there is at an all-time high. You think it's bad? New York is everybody's crammed in together. In Texas and Arizona, it's more wide open country, so they're not all on one little island. But there's a massive crime wave going on nationally, but in particular in those border states. So if Trump were on Twitter and he was using Twitter, which is where I believe most of the people, the news is driven from. The news used to be driven by the New York Times and the Washington Post and then CNN. It's driven by Twitter now, X. And I think it's a reason.
Oh, absolutely. If you watch Fox, all their stuff comes from Twitter or the Daily Mail.
Yeah.
All their stories come from those two things. Because if I watch Outnumbered, it's like boom, boom, boom. I just saw that in the Daily Mail, or I just saw it on X. That's where they don't even go out and get stories anymore. They just get it from those two things.
Now think about this. If every day, just once in the morning, when he, if it's 6, 7 in the morning every day, or 8 o'clock in the morning, if every day at 7 or 8 a.m., Trump posted a horrific something that has happened to people in this country because of the migrant crime.
Yep. No, I think.
Can you imagine the narrative and the dialogue that would go on? The left-wing media would not be able to resist responding to it. And
he definitely has with Elon Musk. Elon Musk has a lot of very good ideas.
Brilliant. He's brilliant.
And I got the impression last night, because I listened to the whole interview, that Elon Musk really wants to help Donald Trump.
Absolutely.
And really understands that if he does not win the country, he basically said, if you don't win, our country's in trouble. We're screwed. And you got the impression he really, really wants to help Trump.
Yeah, he does.
And it's such a great platform. But sometimes I feel Trump gets very on this thing, and I could be wrong, and it's hard for him to see outside of it. He gets on these things where it's he focuses, which is good, but and I think he could take ideas from other people. Elon has a lot of really great ideas. And I got the impression that Elon really wanted to help him, and he even said, I want to, if you have an accountability department, which could replace the Department of Education, by the way, where we audit things and where money goes. And Trump said, that's a great idea, blah, blah, blah. And Elon said, I would be happy to be on that. I would love to do that. So he is basically saying, I want a position in your administration. Can you imagine? He wants to be
Musk.
like a cabinet member.
That's amazing.
And he should be. I know he's a scientist, but he's an engineer or something. So I don't know.
But he's a businessman too.
He's a businessman. So I don't know if he'd make him in charge of that or whatever, or wherever he'd put him, where he'd be the best fit. But he wants him to create a new department that basically audits where all the taxpayer money goes. He's really got a thing with the taxes and how people
pays a lot of them.
and that he just moved to Texas, his whole company, and how people are overtaxed and where the money goes. And I think he wants Trump to start this whole new department that he would be in charge of, basically.
Well,
so he is really offering his services. It's a match made in heaven. And I hope Trump really takes advantage of it.
When Bill Clinton got elected with Al Gore wanted to do something like that. And I saw him on TV talking about it. And he started going around looking for government waste. He only did it for about a month, and then he, it was for show. It wasn't real. Yeah. But Al Gore found a government warehouse that the Pentagon had and this is 94, right? 1994. He found a warehouse that was stacked to the ceiling with nothing but U.S. Army Korean War era winter uniforms. So, the Korean War was 1950, right? And
there's so much waste in the government.
I know that's not the biggest waste, but what the government, if Elon Musk were put in charge of this new Department of Government Accountability on Spending or whatever they would call it, it'd be amazing. And another thing about Elon Musk, and Elon brought this up last night with Trump, he agrees with Trump 1,000% on the border. Yes. And the migrant crime and everything. And he said, I'm an immigrant. He's like, I'm an immigrant. And and legal, just like President Trump's wife, Melania.
And it was interesting. Yeah, I was going to say something about and I lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
What I was going to say.
That's okay. I'll vamp while you're
I don't know
thinking.
if I'll get it back, but
that's okay.
But yeah, it was a very interesting conversation between the two of them, and hopefully I'll think of what I was going to say. Oh, I got it. Trump said something really interesting last night. He said, there are things I could tell you that go on in the government, but I'm afraid to. And that's all he said. And I really feel that Trump holds back because the things he would say would really upset the American people to the point of where they might, I think he wants to, it would anger people very much if he really revealed he says there's a lot of things that go on that I just don't talk about. Because I always wonder, why doesn't he tell people what's really happening and all this corruption? And I think he just doesn't want to go down that rabbit hole because it would upset people too much. And I don't think he wants to create a problem.
Well, Kathy,
you know what I mean?
When President Trump was having his daily press conferences during the COVID period, there was one press conference, and he started. He was talking about the origins of COVID. It was one of the big 2.5-hour ones.
Yeah. And
he said they were asking him. He was up there with Fauci and Birch, and they were asking him where did it come from and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And he started to say, and then he said, this is a bit of a paraphrase because it's been a few years, but this is pretty much what he said. He said, if I tell you, the people would demand that we do something
Right.
that we don't want to do.
Exactly.
So I'm not going to say. So what he was saying,
he doesn't want to go to war.
So
what
he was saying was, it's China, and if I tell that to people, people are going to want a nuclear attack.
Yeah,
on
like it was
China.
like biological warfare.
And I could see it on that he almost said it, and he stopped. And a lot of those things he can't say now because he's not president. And things
he's
are
very
classified.
thoughtful with his work, with what he tells people, which I realize, but not to what extent.
Mm-hmm.
But he said there's a lot of things I just don't say because it would just really anger the American people, and it would just not be a good place to go.
And the media today, I was going to play some sound bites of this, but I'm not. I'm just going to tell you. You don't need me to play the sound bites on this. The media are acting as if, they're threatened by Elon Musk and X, and the media today are acting as if that X was not attacked. Okay, that it was just incompetence.
Like Trump wasn't shot?
Yeah, like it was incompetence of Elon Musk and his team.
Whatever.
And that's why they came on late. They were attacked. I believe they were attacked by the deep state and an agency. Look what happened yesterday. A reporter in the White House press briefing asked Jean-Pierre if Biden should intervene and stop misinformation from Trump getting out on X. The EU sent that threatening letter threatening to shut down X and Twitter in Europe if the interview went forward. And then all of a sudden it's time for the interview and the site was attacked. And Twitter is one of the biggest websites, X is one of the biggest websites on the planet. And to overload it so that it doesn't function, that's not something a couple gamers who have Twitch streams did on laptops. That's a government action somewhere.
The EU and even the reporter from the Washington Post here, they talked about shutting it down.
That's right.
What can we do to shut it down? The media just, like I've said this before, they don't even know where the truth begins and the lies end, or where the truth ends and the lies begin. They tell so many lies now that they don't. I don't think they even know what the truth is anymore. Like if you watch Jean-Pierre, I mean, she is the biggest gaslighter.
Oh yes,
she just flat out lies to people, just over and over and over again. And it's so blatant. Like this whole thing with Kamala with the taxes, trying to act like it's her idea. That's just a lie.
And everybody. knows
and they have no shame. They have zero shame. And I don't understand how Democrats are okay with being lied to. Look at all the lies they've said about Trump. Are you okay? I mean, do you hate the man that much that you're okay being lied to like that?
That's right. Now, I want to talk about Tom Laporta from Laporta Contracting and Roofing, okay? Tom Laporta is amazing. He's a good MAGA guy. He'll never sell you a roof you do not need. What other roofer says that? He will not sell you a new roof you do not need. If you just need a simple repair, he will do it. And before we knew Tom Laporta, Kathy and I, we had hurricane damage and we needed repairs. We couldn't find a roofer that would do repairs. They all said, no, we don't do repairs. We do new roofs, but we only need a repair. No, call somebody else. We couldn't find a roofer that did repairs after a hurricane. Tom Laporta does repairs if you need a repair. Now, sometimes you need a whole new roof, and that does happen a lot. He also works on every type of structure, single-family homes, government buildings, office buildings, churches, schools, warehouses, whatever type of structure it is, apartment buildings, condos. He works very well with HOAs. I tell Tom Laporta he's kind of like the Alan Dershowitz of HOAs. He's, when he had to do all that work at Steve's house, Steve lives in a very liberal place, and the HOA hate him because he's Republican. And Steve's lived there since the development was built. Right, so he's got a long history, and they don't like Steve doing anything. Right, they're on him for the blades of grass height. Okay, and Tom Laporta was able to meet with his HOA and not only get things approved. Steve wanted to get a new type of roof that nobody else on the street had, and it's a beautiful roof. And Tom got the HOA to sign off on it. I mean,
that's a big obstacle.
Oh my goodness,
that's a huge obstacle. The HOA.
Oh my goodness,
just dealing with them alone, you don't want to deal with it.
Our HOA are monsters. We were trying to get a privacy fence put up, and they wouldn't approve it. And they gave us all kinds of problems, and I found a workaround. We put up hedges, which we didn't have to get HOA approval, and it was cheaper than the fence, and it's prettier than the fence. Yeah. But anyway, if you've got an HOA, call Tom Laporta too, okay? No matter where you are in the state of Florida, he can help, and I'm going to give you his number. This rings directly to Tom Laporta's cell phone. Give him a call right now. He'll answer. 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. That's 954-604-4602 for Tom Laporta. Make sure you tell him I sent you. We'll be right back.
Are you searching for inspiration and insightful discussions that truly matter? Then add Strive and Unite with host Joshua Watkins to your podcast playlist, available on Apple Podcast. Strive and Unite brings you powerful stories of overcoming life's toughest challenges, as well as thought-provoking political conversations. Each episode features 2 powerful segments. First, in You're Not Alone, Joshua brings you moving stories of resilience. You'll hear from people who have overcome adversity, and they offer not just motivation, but a sense of belonging, as well as community. These stories prove that with perseverance, nothing you set your mind to is out of reach. Then in Informed Voices, Joshua has rich political conversations, inviting experts as well as everyday people to weigh in on today's most pressing issues. This segment embraces a wide array of viewpoints, helping you stay informed and encouraging you to take an active role in the world around you. Together, these segments make Strive and Unite a must-listen-to podcast. Strive and Unite not only promotes personal growth and unity, but also will broaden your understanding of the world. Join Joshua Watkins on this journey of exploration and empowerment with Strive and Unite on Apple Podcast. Are you ready to transform your life and align with God's purpose? Then order your copy of the book from author Gary S. Park, Unlocking Your Faith, Seeking God's Purpose, A Journey of Faith, Overcoming Life's Challenges, and Embracing Spiritual Growth. In this inspiring book, the author takes readers on a transformative journey, shifting your focus from self to living with God. You'll unlock profound insights on embracing the teachings of the Word of God and discover how to infuse your daily life with spiritual meaning and purpose. With Unlocking Your Faith, you'll learn the essential elements of nurturing a robust prayer life and how to cultivate a mindset anchored in faith and positivity. You'll also gain valuable insights into the power of community and fellowship in strengthening your spiritual journey. Unlocking Your Faith, Seeking God's Purpose, A Journey of Faith, Overcoming Life's Challenges, and Embracing Spiritual Growth from author Gary S. Park is the book you've been waiting for. It's available on Amazon and the author's website, GarySPark.com. That's S as in Samuel. Order your copy right now. Are you a restaurant owner or chef who wants to upgrade your kitchen without breaking the bank? Then check out Auction Factory Tennessee, your destination for top brand restaurant equipment at unbeatable prices. Auction Factory Tennessee specializes in brand new inventory and expertly restored repossessions. Whether you're building the commercial kitchen of your dreams or just need a few upgrades, Auction Factory Tennessee have you covered. And the best part, you can bid and win from the comfort of your own home or restaurant. Imagine saving thousands of dollars on premium equipment. Auction Factory Tennessee have everything you're looking for, from ovens and fryers to refrigeration units, and that's just the beginning. Over the next month, Auction Factory Tennessee is offering over $1 million worth of brand new merchandise. Auction Factory Tennessee has been helping businesses just like yours for over 2 decades. Auction Factory Tennessee auctions are happening right now, featuring everything you need to outfit your kitchen with the very best. Take your restaurant to the next level and go to auctionfactory.com and under auctions, click Tennessee. That's auctionfactory.com and under auctions, click Tennessee for Auction Factory Tennessee, producing auction perfection. Are you ready to cleanse not just your skin, but your soul too? Then visit sparkle2clean.com. That's the number 2. Sparkle2clean.com is your destination for all natural beauty and wellness. Sparkle2clean.com offer handmade soaps as well as skincare products that are crafted with nature's wisdom as well as modern science. Their Divine Radiant soap is enriched with the golden wisdom of turmeric. It purifies your skin and your spirit, washing away negativity and leaving you radiant. The sun Sun-Kissed Apricot Bliss Soap is a luscious journey into skin-nourishing bliss. It lets the natural goodness of apricots gently exfoliate and hydrate your skin. It'll leave it silky smooth and refreshed. SparkleToClean.com also have a line of holistic skincare products that nourish not only your skin, but also uplifts your spirit and awakens your inner essence. It's time to embark on a journey where skincare becomes a sacred ritual. Illuminate your true essence with products designed to restore balance and harmony to your life. Visit SparkleToClean.com. More than just skincare, it's a spiritual experience. SparkleToClean.com. Illuminating your inner spirit.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
This is what I'm talking about. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy, that if Trump posted this, what I'm going to play for you right now, Kamala Harris's campaign would be over by the end of the week, okay? This is Tim Walz when he was in the House of Representatives talking to Gold Star families. And let me tell you, I know most people know what Gold Star families are, but we do have listeners in other countries, and you may not know.
You know, I will say this, in all fairness, Trump has said that he will kick up the campaign after the DNC convention.
Yes, that's correct.
So let's see what
correct.
happens.
We want him on
Maybe
Twitter.
they'll hear you, take some advice. And by the way, before you play that, for those of you who don't know, Brian and I were the original people behind the Swift Boat ad.
That's correct.
Which took down John Kerry. That's a fact.
Yes. Everybody tries to take credit for that.
That's a fact. It was Brian and mine, our idea, and we gave it to we made up our own commercial, and then the Swift Boat veterans took that and made a national commercial out of it, but it was our idea to do that. So they should definitely take your advice and my advice. I think we have good ideas, and I agree with you on the thing every day, but they need to start that soon where they feature somebody victimized, because crime, the border, and the economy are the three. I wouldn't even discuss abortion, which Trump really is not. He said it's a non-issue, and I think that's the way to handle it.
It's settled with the overturning of Roe v. Wade.
And I would just say I'm not going to discuss that. That's a and he really has. They have not successfully been able to make that a big issue this time around.
Getting back, this clip is when Walz was in Congress. He's talking to a Gold Star family, and for those that don't know what a Gold Star family is, as I was saying, people outside of the United States may not know. Gold Star families are people who have lost someone in war, okay? So in the Second World War, they would put up flags in their front window with a gold star if they lost someone, and sometimes people would have a flag with 2 or 3 stars on it.
So if it's specifically if you lost somebody in a war,
it's usually
not any other way.
Yeah, it's usually usually a child, but
that's across all military branches.
Yeah, Gold Star family. It's usually a child, a son or a daughter, but it could be a husband, or a mother even. Okay, and Gold Star families are put up on a pedestal in this country of respect because they've earned it through the loss that they've had. And this is Tim Walz lying to a Gold Star family when he was in Congress, and it's a really scumbag thing to do. It really is.
Scumbag.
So and the Gold Star mom, she has a picture of her family member that she lost in the war. Listen, this is in 2004.
And both of you, with your keen understanding of how this works, especially from National Guard families, I can tell you this, having been one of those that came back, we were in support of OEF, but sitting in there with OIF veterans, when we came back, they showed us the horse whisperer and told us.
When we came back, okay, I'm not going to play when we came back. He's implying that he came back from deployment in Iraq or Afghanistan, and he said it many times. And this guy, if Donald Trump were tweeting these things of Walz, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz would be forced to do a Tim Walz would be forced to do a sit-down interview with a big shot person, and Anderson Cooper. I know he'd be a liberal jerk, but he'd be forced to do a sit-down, and it would be over for Tim Walz, and it would be over for Kamala, because this is the first decision Kamala has made that we know of since she's left California. And I understand the stories are out there, but without Trump, there's not a narrative that's being, you know what I mean? There's like when I was talking earlier in the show about the Willie Horton, when the Willie Horton thing happened, or the Swift boat ad that we did, that started an entire national discussion.
Yeah.
Everybody was talking about those things. And
I see what you're saying.
You understand?
Because there's so much they could glean from all of this. There's so much they can use to have that Swift boat moment. And they're really not, and they can hammer it over and over and over again. But I mean, I will say this though, at the rallies, they do play videos of her.
Yes.
They have a montage of her, and it's really good. And it's a disaster. So that's good. I like that. And he did post a bunch of videos on X yesterday. But I agree with you. I'd like to see more comment, more engagement with X, and getting the dialogue going. I remember when he first ran, and he was on Twitter, and we would wake up. People would wake up just to see what he tweeted.
He used to tweet around 5.
You know, I mean, even the news, the whole news cycle that day revolved around what Trump tweeted that morning. I remember. I mean, you would wake up, everybody, what did Trump tweet today? That's not happening anymore. And that needs to come back. That sense of waking up in the morning and checking your X. What did Trump say today? I remember that. It was exciting. And it got all the liberals all in a tizzy, and everybody on the news talked about these things.
Yeah.
And I think it's good what he's doing with Elon Musk and Aiden Ross and all these people. But I agree with you. He needs to do the same thing on X that he did in 2016
like listen
on
to
Twitter.
This story, Kathy.
There's an endless sea of material he can use on these people.
So now I mentioned this to you earlier about him with the police, with the paint. Listen to this. Governor Tim Walz ordered police to shoot residents on their porches with paintballs during the lockdowns. There's a video, which I'm going to play, for you. In the video, you can actually, and I tweeted this. This is on my X, Brian Craig Show. Mm-hmm. In the video, you can see police officers walking the streets of Minneapolis on May 30th, 2020, screaming at residents and shooting paintballs at anyone who was sitting on their own porch. They're not even across the street talking to their neighbors. They're on their own porch.
Why do cops do this when we always back the blue?
Well, and
why do they do this kind of stuff?
When you're in a town like this, in a state like this, the police are hardcore leftist. In Florida, like we're in Florida, most of the police are conservative, right? And you get in these liberal places. The Independent reported this. Police officers and National Guard forces in Minneapolis, under the orders of Governor Walz, shot paintballs at residents standing outside on their own front porches as a curfew was enforced throughout the city. Now, I did not know curfews meant you couldn't stand on the front porch of your standalone single-family home.
It's crazy.
A video posted on X.
That's how it was, yeah.
Yeah. A video posted on X shows the Minnesota National Guard and state police ordering residents of one street to go inside before they turn their weapons, the paintball weapons, on a group of residents. The footage captures people rushing inside their home after paintball shots are fired at them, and shows where one member of the public has been hit by a paintball. And let me tell you,
it's incredible.
Paintballs can hurt people. You can hit somebody in the eye.
Yep.
You can do all kinds of damage. It's like shooting blanks.
What you have
I'll play this video.
Kamala and Tim Walz is you have two people
nutcases.
They're nuts, stupid, and they clearly love to have power over people. They get off on it.
Yeah,
they really do.
Yeah, I bet Fauci would like to go around and shoot people with paintballs too. So I'll play the video. It's insane. Oh, hold on. There's I hate when there's an ad that that's got to play before. Don't you hate that?
Yeah, that's frustrating.
I hate that. Okay, so let me skip the ad. Hold on. Okay, let me turn it back up. This is crazy.
Pay attention. You'll hear the police say, "Get in the house." You'll hear several commands, and then you'll hear, "Light them up," and then that's when you get the fire. We'll play it again.
This is. Get in your house now. Let's go. Light them up. Go inside now. Get in the house.
Oh my God.
Get in.
That's insane.
That was local news covered it in Minnesota.
That's
insane.
that's what I'm saying with this guy. There's so much stuff they can use.
But Kamala's responsible for everything he's done because she picked him.
That is somebody who loves control.
That's why he
and
loves
power.
China. He loves the CCP so much.
But somebody who is a very left-wing radical, like he is drinking that Kool-Aid, and he is like all in on this radical.
It makes him feel good.
Liberal thinking. To do something like that is not rational.
And you hear the cops, they're so excited.
That's insanity.
They're so excited.
How did this guy get elected? Oh, I guess because they have all the Somalians that live there. That's what my cousin said.
These are people.
That's crazy.
On the front porches of their own home with the people that are living in the home with them. And by the way, I'm not saying that they should have been shot with paintballs if they were talking to their neighbors across the street, but they just went out on the front porches of their home.
Well, why should they be shot with paintballs at all? What do you mean?
There's a curfew that you got to be inside your house.
I don't think you should ever shoot people with paintballs.
No, I agree. I agree.
You just said it. I'm not saying they shouldn't
That's
be.
That's what yeah. And, these Nazis that they have, they're just, they have the National Guard, which is the army, and the state troopers, the state police doing this. These are like the Nazi, just following orders.
Exactly.
Just following orders. This is nuts. And if Trump was tweeted about this, could you imagine? If Trump tweeted about this, and by Friday, we would see the state police would have to comment on
because
it.
What would happen
and by Sunday, Walz would be on 60 Minutes or something.
What would happen is so many people would see it on X that the media would not be able to ignore it. They would have to address it, either defend it or attack it or make some excuse or lie about it. And like I said, that is not happening at all with this campaign.
And I know what you guys are saying, because this is what I was trying to communicate on the radio this morning, and it wasn't getting through. I understand these stories are out there. Like I put this on X, and some other people tweeted it too, okay? But none of us are Trump. If Benny Johnson and Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk all tweeted that, it'd be out there, but it's not the same as if Trump did it. If Trump did it and was doing it, Fake Tapper on CNN and Joy Reid and Morning Joe would be responding to it. Do you understand what I mean by that, guys? It doesn't have the same impact as when Trump does it.
Fox News is not going to really comment on what Benny Johnson says or Charlie Kirk
or CNN or MSNBC.
But they can't ignore Trump. He's running for president.
That's correct. Yeah, that's right. And that if we need him to do that, and even if he posted on Truth, it's not the same. And I know a lot of people take his truths and they put it on X. When Trump was running in 2016, you got me this really cool thing. I have it in another room. I don't have it in here. It's the Talking Trump, where you push the button and he says like 20 things that he said during the campaign.
Yes.
And one of them was, I love Twitter. It's like having a network, a cable network without the expenses or something.
Right.
Remember that? And I just think that Twitter would turn, we're already ahead. Trump is winning. We're ahead in the battleground states. But if he were on Twitter doing these things, the left would be annihilated. They would be annihilated.
The problem is, and this feeds into
it. I mean, do you agree with that?
Yeah, this feeds into people calling your show upset.
Yeah.
The reason that's happening is because it looks like Trump's MIA. It looks like he's not.
I don't think so.
It does. And it does, well, because he's not doing these interviews.
Oh, he's not on Fox.
He's not on these networks. He's not on X. He's not as present as he used to be.
In the places he normally would be.
Right. And exactly. And he needs to be. And that's so what's going to happen is the media is going to take advantage of that and tell people lies and mistruths. Yeah. And he's not really counterpunching like he used to.
Trump,
you know what I mean? He's just not doing the counterpunches
Trump
like he did.
is amazing, okay? And the one thing, you guys, I've talked about this a lot in the past. President Trump has the ability to do something that no other Republican has ever been able to do. And that is to decide what the narrative is that the country's talking about and to drive the news cycle. And he's not able to drive the news cycle without using Twitter. It doesn't work on Truth. Remember when President Trump would say, I wake up in the morning, I'm laying next to Melania, and I'll say, hey, I'm going to tweet something. Let's see how long it takes them to have it on TV.
Yes.
Before he got out of bed.
those days.
That's
what I mean.
We need that.
We do.
And I don't know if he's going to return to Twitter or not beyond what he did yesterday. He posted like 4 or 5 things up there.
He said another thing really interesting last night. They were talking about people he had hired that worked for him. He said, well, I hired a lot of people that, ended up being a big disappointment and I had to let go. All right. Or they were talking to the press and I couldn't trust them and this and that. He said, this time around, I know who everybody is and what they're all about.
Oh, my goodness.
So I thought that was really...
Isn't that crazy?
He's been in Washington like a long time. I mean, what 12, 15 years now? I mean, like really in it. So he really knows what's happening now, and he's going in. He's not going in with blinders on or with any naivete.
He came down the escalator 9 years ago. Isn't that crazy? And he was talking about running back in 2011. And I want you guys to let me know what you think about everything I've laid out in the comments of the program. I'd very much like to hear that. Your thoughts on it. And I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters. If you'd like to support the program by becoming a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode. And remember, Patreon supporters have access to commercial-free editions of all of our podcast episodes. And you also get access to a lot of other things. Kathy and I both post on Patreon. Nobody else sees that stuff. It's stuff we post nowhere else. And also Patreon supporters, you can reach out and communicate with us too, if you pretty directly, if you're a Patreon supporter. Our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout out on every episode of the program. So these names are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Richard, Alice, K-Mac, LeeZep, Shawna, Constance, George, Brandon, Rob and Trish Wilkerson, Christy R, and John S. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you all for your support. My name is Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We will talk to you next time.